break down the latest inflation data with China Bank Chief Economist Domini Velasquez. Domini, if you take a look at the July data, it is a lagging indicator. And now the devastation of Typhoon Egay and Falcon has seen prices go up, as we mentioned in that report by Caricator, by 6 pesos from the day before. So could this change the dynamics of inflation for the month of August?
Hi, Rico. Yes, we're actually concerned about August inflation. We think although we did get a lower inflation rate this month, maybe in August, sort of a match or even higher if these higher food prices are not addressed. For July, actually, we saw increases of around 9 to 12% already on vegetables for those affected by the typhoon. Those regions, largely Region 1, Region 2, 3, and also in NCR.
So, Domini, 4.7% in July. What is the forecast now of China Bank for the month of August, given all of these supply price pressures?
For August, still very early. We just have 4 days, but we're seeing increasing prices of rice, as mentioned by USEC Mapa, rice, vegetables, and I think LPG prices are rising also. And if you look at oil prices in global oil prices, they're also on an uptrend already. So likely a little bit of a match, maybe around 4.7 or somewhat higher. But after that, we think still on a downtrend due to base effects.
But of course, there's also external supply price pressures, of course, with the likes of India banning exports of non-basmati white rice in an attempt to calm rising domestic prices at home. You have Thailand and Vietnam, where the Philippines imports a bulk of its rice, raising their price by $5 per ton. This could really fan a rice inflation yet again.
Yes, that's true, especially because rice makes up a large part of the inflation basket. It's around 8%, the largest portion if we look at food commodities in the inflation basket. And again, because of El Nino, we do expect an uptick in rice prices, not just the challenges here domestically, but what's happening abroad. Even if we don't directly import rice from India, it actually increases prices of other rice exporting countries like Vietnam and Thailand, where we import rice from.
So, Domini, despite the lower inflation rate, this is what Governor Eli Remolona said last night when I had an exclusive interview with him on The Final Word.
We're continuing to watch the data, and we're going to be ready to raise if necessary.
Ready to raise as necessary? How soon, Governor Eli?
Well, as soon as August 17, that's our next meeting.
August 17 is a critical day when the central bank's monetary policy board determines whether to continue its rate pause or even maybe hike rates. What do you think? Will they have to hike rates or wait for another meeting, given all of these data that we have in front of us right now?
For us right now, all these shocks are really largely supply shocks. Some of these are temporary, like what we're saying about vegetable prices, the impact of typhoon. Hopefully temporary. The government does have this interagency looking at how to address El Nino, how to address better supply management in terms of food prices. Hopefully not anymore, given the temporariness of these recent shocks. But however, we do recognize that the BSP has become more hawkish because upside risks have actually increased also.
But we must also add to the equation, Domini, that the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Central Bank, has also raised rates yet again. This might put more pressure on the Bangko Sentral to raise rates on August 17.
That's correct. We were actually looking at that. And what we think is that towards this end of the monetary tightening cycle, financial markets were not as, financial markets were a little bit tamer in terms of reacting to this thinner or narrower interest rate differentials with the Fed. Now we're at 75 basis points. Previously, if you remember last year, 100 basis points was where the peso settled, where it actually stabilized. But right after the July hike of the Fed, we saw the peso at 54, 55, which was actually quite modest.
So
we think, though...
Yeah. So fearless forecast will...
Just because we're at that end of the tightening cycle, financial markets will be more tolerant of this narrower interest rate differentials.
Fearless forecast, we have 5 seconds. Will they raise rates yet again this year? The BSP?
For us, no. No,
okay.
not raise rates, but hold rates for a longer period of time.
China Bank Chief Economist Domini Velasquez, thank you so much for your insights.